Live, we are going live with week 3. Can't you see? Of reading Moby Dick, starting with chapter 7. That's the plan. That's where I am. We're gonna go ahead and add this to the playlist. Moby Dick Weekly Save. Gonna disable live reactions and turn slow mode on. Okay. Welcome, Art Omelet. Welcome, Triforce00111. Nutmeg Soup and Friendless Photon. Welcome, Sparrowwood and Layla. Welcome, Neon Wyvern Meep Feeve. Welcome, Sunlight Ice Girl Brave Hornet and El Bubbly 3. Vincho Can and Grayski. Welcome, Tommy Sarconi. Unbeckled Spaghetti. Hope you're doing well today. Mailman Dave. Edward Bental. Hope you're doing fantastic all. We're gonna go ahead and get this underway. And we're not gonna reply to that message right now because that's not appropriate. But we will say hello to Brave Hornet, which rhymes with appropriate. Yay, we brought it back around. Welcome, Joju997, Audit They, Nola They Them, Woodland Juliet, Lizzie Mac 2010, Golden Tetrapod and Pepper Bus and G. Welcome, Ken Dreadful, D. Alrighty. Let's go ahead. That's all the music we can get. We can't do the copyright strike music today. Even though it's music that, like, I wrote and I have the rights to, if we play music during the stream, the VOD is going to get taken down. And then people will be sad that they don't have the Moby Dick to read along with us, or to listen to. What we're reading today is chapters 7, 8, and 9 of Moby Dick. If we get way ahead, we might have time for chapter 10. But chapters 10, 11, and 12 kind of go together well, so I kind of want to read those all in one go. We are not going to have a Moby Dick stream next week because of the Hermitcraft Charity Day. That is going to be my focus. That's going to be where my energy is going next Saturday. I hope you all are excited about that. It is going to be a great time. We're going to have a full schedule available to you guys probably Friday, as well as, and hopefully, so the auction I think is supposed to be Sunday. The big stream day is going to be Saturday, and then we're going to have other streams Sunday to promote the auction. But big fundraising day Saturday, auction day Sunday. Should be a lot of fun. That's going to be next week. But yeah, so I got to save, with a 2-day charity stream, I got to save my energy. We're going to take off from Moby Dick next week. We are going to be reading it tonight, though. If you guys enjoy the show, if you enjoy me reading to y'all while I do my terraforming, just as a reminder, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. El Bubbly says, I wish I could be there for the big stream, but I'm doing a work event most of the day. If it's still going on when I get home, I'll join. Well, like I said, we don't have the full schedule out yet, but I think we're hoping to have many hours of fun. I can't say how many hours of fun. If we were prepared to tell you how many hours of fun, we'd have the full schedule out already. But it's Hermitcraft. We're going to have a great time, even if we're making up a lot of it as we go. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. The stuff we do have planned is fantastic, and the stuff that we'll make up as we go will be fantastic. I just can't tell you yet how much of it there's going to be. Okay. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong button. I meant to put that there. There we go. That's what we wanted. So, I've posted the link. I've pinned the link. Just so you know, if tips roll in during the... Oh, we're out of range of the beacon? Ooh, nobody wants to be out of range of the beacon. Okay, well... I'm a little disappointed about being out of range of the beacon here. Where's the range of the beacon? Also, which one's the Silk Touch one? Okay. Okay, where is... Really? The beacons stop all the way back there? I mean, that's fine. It's just not optimal. It's fine. The camera expansions are every 20 US abacus speeds. Okay. So, okay. Let's go ahead. I was going to start up there and dig my way downward, but it looks like this is as far back as we can reasonably go with the way that these beacons are. I'm rethinking my approach here. Because thinking out my approach before I start reading is a lot easier than reading while I'm figuring out my approach. It's a different process. Bleh. Okay. So, I think we are ready. Everybody has had the chance to pull up the text. Hey, our first tip is rolling in, though, so let's read that next. Thank you very much to Grayski for tipping 10, our first tip of the stream, who says, I've been looking forward to this stream all week, and because yesterday was payday, I have some extra money set aside for the charity stream. I'm super excited for that. Woo! Thank you so much, Grayski. That is going to get us halfway to our first face camera expansion milestone. Appreciate it. Buddy Bork says, do you have any tips for getting into Minecraft? Yeah, bring a book. For example, Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Chapter 7, The Chapel. In this same New Bedford, there stands a whaleman's chapel, and few are the moody fishermen, shortly bound for the Indian Ocean or Pacific, who fail to make a Sunday visit to the spot. I am sure that I did not. Returning from my first morning stroll, I again sallied out upon this special errand. The sky had changed from clear, sunny cold to driving sleet and mist. Wrapping myself in my shaggy jacket of the cloth called bearskin, I fought my way against the stubborn storm. Entering, I found a small, scattered congregation of sailors and sailors' wives and widows. A muffled silence reigned, only broken at times by the shrieks of the storm. Each silent worshiper seemed purposefully sitting apart from the other, as if each silent grief were insular and incommunicable. The chaplain had not yet arrived, and there these silent islands of men and women sat steadfastly eyeing several marble tablets with black borders, masoned into the wall on either side of the pulpit. 3 of them ran something like the following, but I don't pretend to quote. Sacred to the memory of John Talbot, who at the age of 18 was lost overboard near the Isle of Desolation off Patagonia, November 1st, 1836. This tablet is erected to his memory by his sister. Sacred to the memory of Robert Long, Willis Ellery, Nathan Coleman, Walter Canny, Seth Macy, and Samuel Gleig, forming one of the boat's crews of the ship Eliza, who were towed out of sight by a whale on the offshore ground in the Pacific, December 31st, 1839. This marble is placed here by their surviving shipmates. Sacred to the memory of the late Captain Ezekiel Hardy, who in the bows of his boat was killed by a sperm whale on the coast of Japan, August 3rd, 1833. This tablet is erected to his memory by his widow. Shaken off the sleet from my ice-glazed hat and jacket, I seated myself near the door, and, turning sideways, was surprised to see Queequeg near me. Affected by the solemnity of the scene, there was a wondering gaze of incredulous curiosity in his countenance. This savage was the only person present who seemed to notice my entrance, because he was the only one who could not read, and therefore was not reading those frigid inscriptions upon the wall. Whether any of the relatives of the seamen whose names appeared were now among the congregation, I knew not, but so many are the unrecorded accidents in the fishery, and so plainly did several women present wear the countenance, if not the trappings, of some unceasing grief, that I felt sure that here before me were assembled those in whose unhealing hearts the sight of those bleak tablets sympathetically caused old wounds to bleed afresh. O ye, whose dead lie buried beneath the green grass, who standing among the flowers can say, Here lies my beloved. Ye know not the desolation that broods in bosoms like these. What immovable inscriptions! What deadly voids and unbidden infidelities in the lines that seem to gnaw upon all faith and refuse resurrections to the beings who have placelessly perished without a grave. As well might those tablets stand in the cave of Elephanta as here. In what census of living creatures the dead of mankind are included, why is it that such a universal proverb says of them that they tell no tales, though containing more secrets than the Goodwin sands? How is it that to his name, who yesterday departed for the other world, we prefix so significant and infidel a word, and yet do not thus entitle him, if he but embarks for the remotest Indies of the living earth? Why the life insurance companies pay death forfeitures upon immortals? In what eternal, unstirring paralysis and deadly, hopeless trance yet lies antique immortals? Sorry. That's a hard sentence. That's a really long sentence, too. I'm like, let me find the beginning. No, I'm not going to find the beginning. The beginning of that sentence is the beginning of the paragraph. We're going forward. In what eternal, unstirring paralysis and deadly, hopeless trance yet lies antique Adam, who died 60 round centuries ago? How is it that we still refuse to be comforted for those who we nevertheless maintain are dwelling in unspeakable bliss? Why all the living so strive to hush all the dead, but the rumor of a knocking tomb will terrify a whole city? All these things are not without their meanings. But faith, like a jackal, feeds among the tombs, and even from these dead doubts she gathers her most vital hope. It needs scarcely to be told with what feelings, on the eve of a Nantucket voyage, I regarded those marble tablets, and by the murky light of that darkened, doleful day, read the fate of the whalemen who had gone before me. Yes, Ishmael, the same fate may be thine. But somehow I grew merry again. Delightful inducements to embark. Fine chance for promotion, it seems. Aye, a stove boat will make me immortal by my brevet. Yet there is death in this business of whaling, a speechlessly quick, chaotic bundling of man into eternity. But what then? Methinks we have hugely mistaken this matter of life and death. Methinks that what they call my shadow here on earth is my true substance. Methinks that in looking at things spiritual, we are too much like oysters, observing the sun through the water, and thinking the thick water the thinnest of air. Methinks my body is but the lees of my better being. In fact, take my body who will. Take it, I say. It is not me. And therefore, 3 cheers for Nantucket, and come a stove-boat and stove-body when they will, for stave my soul, Jove himself cannot. Thus concludes Chapter 7, The Chapel, of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Thank you very much for listening, y'all. We've got a tip rolling in from lbubbly3 420, who says, thanks for reading us, Joe. Or reading to us, Joe. This is my favorite stream. I'm boiling veggies for egg dye tonight while you read. Happy Easter. Well, thank you very much, lbubbly3. That is indeed going to get us to our first face camera expansion milestone. Please direct your attention to slot 9, where I'm putting the hot in the hot bar, so I can say, howdy, y'all. Rohill's here, expanded as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee. D-da-dee-da-dee, D-da-dee-da-dee-dee-dee. Small Blue says, whoa, how is he reading and playing at the same time? Well, I'm normally reading 3 chats and playing at the same time. And so I realized I could actually read poems and short stories at the same time I play, as long as I'm doing something simple, like just mining out tons of blocks and stuff. It's kind of like people who do their paint their nails while they drive or shave, you know? If you're good enough at shaving, you can do it while you're on a motorcycle. Now, helmet laws have made that harder recently, but you know what? You do you. Law School Music, thank you for tipping 3. That's going to get us now 7 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Appreciate it. But yeah, this dig is so huge that I practically need an audiobook. And you know what they say? You can save money on audiobooks by recording your own. That was actually a play on one of my favorite Onion television things. Was they had a fake news report back when I was in college on the Onion Television Network about this rich, like, white Connecticut CEO losing his job to a Mexican immigrant who was only paid $8 an hour, and you know how he's you know, and it's him talking about, like, how ashamed he is. He had to move into his summer home and all this other stuff. And his wife is just like, it's just so embarrassing for us. And, you know, and it's got, like, this guy dressed like a day laborer who's, like, running the corporate meetings and stuff. It's great. But that segment ends with them saying, save money on books by writing your own. Yeah, the Onion used to have the Onion News Network back when I was in college. I don't know if they still do. This was like 2004, 2005-ish. Yeah, this is Hermitcraft. Sorry, Brave Hornet. That raccoon thing. Never stress out about not being able to tip. Folks are all at different places in their lives, and when I was in school, I had no money. When I got out of school, it took me 10 years to pay off my educational debt. During that time, I didn't have money for entertainment, so I enjoyed stuff people made for free on the internet. Now I'm lucky to be able to make stuff for free on the internet for you to enjoy. People who are at different stages of their lives can afford to support the arts and help me make this free for you to enjoy. And that's not just free from payment, that's also free from guilt. You never have to stress about not tipping here. One day, you might be able to find yourself in a position where you can support the arts, and whether they're mine or not, I hope you do consider it, but that's not for today. That's a concern for later. So, thanks to everybody who has chosen to support the stream, because they're at that right place in their lives where they can do it without stress or strain. And we got a tip rolling in yet again. Thank you very much to Michael for tipping 10. That is going to get us $3 past our next face camera expansion milestone. Here we go. Expand Joe. Well, it's not the Joe shit, just Joe. Do. And Michael says, thanks for reading us, Joe. You actually can get free audiobooks on LibriVox from anything public domain. Also, join the Patreon to check your server. I haven't had the chance to hop on. Love what you're doing. Hope to hop on the server soon. Awesome. Thank you very much, Michael. Jenky Reeves says, imagine how much fun it would be to be a writer for The Onion. Yeah, I think it'd be fun. But, like, I don't imagine... The thing is, with stuff like that, you're usually better off just making your own thing than trying to write for someone else's thing. Because the amount that writers get paid for media outlets isn't great. I mean, owning a media outlet, if it's a small one, isn't hugely profitable either, but you're more in control of your own destiny. Like John Gruber, who runs Daring Fireball, he might not be fantastically wealthy as a blogger and a podcaster, but he controls his own fate. He doesn't have to worry about getting laid off every time a magazine thing closes down or gets bought out. And that's one of the things. I've watched his career very carefully, and I've tried to model some of what I do. It doesn't apply one-to-one, but he's made a lot of very smart decisions about saying, I would rather be a self-employed writer who owns his own website than a writer for somebody else. I mean, he has written for other people in the past. It's not an ego thing. He used to write for Macworld and stuff. But, you know, magazines open, magazines close. But if you can afford to pay for hosting, you can keep your website open even if you have to go take another job. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about all your work getting deleted because the parent company sold your magazine and they're taking everything off the internet, you know? So, let's see. Hey, we got another tip rolling in. Let's see what we got. Karen, thank you for tipping 20, who says, love the stream. Appreciate it, Karen. That's going to get us 3 past our next face camera expansion milestone. So here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Do. Alrighty. Why do I need stone? Oh, I don't. I'm giving it to my pal Etho. This stone is in my way. What I actually need is air blocks. So the way you make air blocks in Minecraft, it doesn't have a direct recipe. You can't make air blocks with like a auto crafter. You have to make air blocks by destroying other blocks, right? So I need enough air blocks to fill this whole area basically. That's the goal here. So, so for the next chapter, the pulpit, I want to go ahead and I want to link an illustration by Evan Dom, who was the person who first recommended that I read Moby Dick, that I took seriously. People have recommended this book to me for years, but for copyright reasons, I'm not showing Evan Dom's images on screen. I'm letting y'all click through to his Tumblr. Evan Dom is a brilliant illustrator who I deeply respect, and I would not take advantage of him by sharing his work on screen without getting permission, which honestly I should probably just ask him for, but I feel like in terms of just like putting good out in the world, sending you guys to his Tumblr so you can click around and check on stuff, like I feel like that's more enriching for y'all and from an, you know, cultural and artistic standpoint. But yeah, so Grey Wolf says, after you clear everything, what's the plan? Well, what the plan is to build this thing. I'll link what we're building. Because Cole McCleary in the YouTube chat also says, I keep hearing you say you're clearing this area, but what is it for? Yeah, we are making a 1-to-1 scale model of the Bell Laboratories Holmdel campus from Monmouth County, New Jersey. So, yeah, so the pulpit is chapter 8 of Moby Dick. And the thing I just linked on the evandom.tumblr.com is his illustration of the pulpit. Let me post that in the Discord too. Sorry, Nola. I forgot to do that. Nola writes, the cross-hatching on this here picture is so sick. Yeah, Evan Dom, in my opinion, is one of the best cross-hatching artists living today. Like, his cross-hatching work is just so... like, he's just brilliant at conveying light and volume with these little marks. Anybody who's seriously considering studying pen and ink illustration should really check out his work. Just cannot recommend Evan Dom's work enough. But yeah, so... oh yeah, the foot pedal is messed up, so I can't press the button to mute. Sorry, guys, with the cough. Okay. So also, he's got a second link here on how he designing the pulpit. Evan Dobb is also really talented at explaining his process and teaching. And so I'm going to post his link to how he tried sketching out a few things, how he tried to figure out like what this should look like, that sort of thing. Okay, so this way you guys have something to look at and contemplate as I begin to read from Moby Dick, Chapter 8, The Pulpit. I had not been... Wait, did I read... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Let's also take down the setting up stream sign now that we're on Chapter 8. Yeah. False start there. Here we go. Now we're going for real. Chapter 8 of Moby Dick by Herman Melville. The Pulpit. I had not been seated very long ere a man of a certain venerable robustness entered. Immediately, as the storm-pelted door flew back upon admitting him, a quick regarding eyeing of him by all the congregation sufficiently attested that this fine old man was the chaplain. Yes, it was the famous Father Mapple, so called by the whalemen, among whom he was a very great favorite. He had been a sailor and a harpooner in his youth, but for many years past has dedicated his life to the ministry. At the time I now write of, Father Mapple was in the hardy winter of a healthy old age, that sort of old age which seems merging into a second flowering youth, for among all the fissures of his wrinkles there shone certain mild gleams of a newly developing bloom. The spring verdure peeping forth beneath February's snow. No one having previously heard his history could for the first time behold Father Mapple without the utmost interest, because there were certain engrafted clerical peculiarities about him, imputable to that adventurous maritime life he had led. When he entered, I observed that he carried no umbrella, and certainly had not come in his carriage, for his tarpaulin hat ran down with melting sleet, and his great pilot cloth jacket seemed almost to drag him to the floor by the weight of the water it absorbed. However, hat and coat and overshoes were one by one removed, and hung up in a little space in an adjacent corner, when, arrayed in a decent suit, he quietly approached the pulpit. Like most old-fashioned pulpits, it was a very lofty one, and, since a regular stairs to such a height would, by its long angle to the floor, seriously contract the already small area of the chapel, the architect, it seemed, had acted upon the hint of Father Mapple, and finished the pulpit without stairs, substituting a perpendicular side ladder, like those used in mounting a ship from a boat at sea. The wife of a whaling captain had provided the chapel with a handsome pair of red worsted man-ropes for the ladder, which, being itself nicely headed and stained with a mahogany color, the whole contrivance, considering what manner of chapel it was, seemed by no means in bad taste. Halting for an instant at the foot of the ladder, and with both hands grasping the ornamental knobs of the man-ropes, Father Mapple cast a look upwards, and then, with a truly sailor-like but still reverential dexterity, hand over hand, mounted the steps as if ascending the main top of his vessel. The perpendicular parts of the side ladder, as is usually the case with swinging ones, were of cloth-covered rope. Only the rounds were of wood, so that at every step there was a joint. At my first glimpse of the pulpit, it had not escaped me that, however convenient for a ship, these joints, in the present instance, seemed unnecessary, for I was not prepared to see Father Mapple, after gaining the height, slowly turn round and, stooping over the pulpit, deliberately drag up the ladder, step by step, till the whole was deposited within, leaving him impregnable in his little Quebec. I pondered some time, without fully comprehending the reason for this. Father Mapple enjoyed such a wide reputation for sincerity and sanctity that I could not suspect him of courting notoriety by mere tricks of the stage. No, thought I, there must be some sober reason for this thing. Furthermore, it must symbolize something unseen. Can it be that by this act of physical isolation, he signifies spiritual withdrawal for the time from all outward worldly ties and connections? Yes, for replenished with the meat and wine of the world to the faithful man of God, this pulpit, I see, is a self-containing stronghold, a lofty Aaron bursting with a perennial well of water within its walls. But the side ladder was not the only strange feature of this place, borrowed from the chaplain's former seafarings. Between the marble cenotaphs on either hand of the pulpit, the wall which formed its back was adorned with a large painting representing a gallant ship beating against a terrible storm off a lee coast of black rocks and snowy breakers. But high above the flying scud and dark rolling clouds, there floated a little isle of sunlight, from which beamed forth an angel's face. Oh, wait, hold on, sorry. And this bright face shed a distinct spot of radiance against the ship's tossed deck, something like that silver plate now inserted into the victory plank where Nelson fell. "Ah, noble ship," the angel seemed to say, beat on, noble ship, and bear a hardy helm. For lo, the sun is breaking through, the clouds are rolling off, serenest azure is at hand." Nor was the pulpit itself without a trace of the same sea taste that had achieved the ladder and the picture. Its paneled front was in the likeness of a ship's bluff bows, and the Holy Bible rested on a projecting piece of scrollwork, fashioned after a ship's fiddle-headed beak. What can be more full of meaning? For the pulpit is ever this earth's foremost part. All the rest comes in its rear. The pulpit leads the world. From thence it is the storm of God's quick wrath is first descried, and the bow must bear its earliest brunt. From thence it is the God of breezes, fair or foul, is first invoked for favorable winds. Yes, the world's a ship on its passage out, and not a voyage complete, and the pulpit is its prow. Thus concludes Chapter 8 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Okay, we're going to go and lay our heads down and dream over here. And I'm going to go ahead and get everybody the Chapter 9 link. This is a longer chapter, so we're going to take a minute for me to breathe and get a drink. Oh my gosh. It's killing me that I can't foot pedal mute. Elgato put out an update, and OBS put out an update, and they're not talking to each other right now. Sorry about that. Okay. So I've got to like manually mute like a peasant. Okay, so chapter 9. Let me Moby Dick CH9. Is what's next, so we're gonna pin that. And we're gonna pin it down there too. Replace pin message. Manually unpinned at the end of the stream. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and have to copy and paste this tipping link as well. If you are enjoying this reading of Moby Dick, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. Let's go ahead and fly our way back here. El Bubbly says, 135 chapters. Mr. Melville, sir, I think you could have combined some of these. Well, I mean, for quick reference, having the pulpit being separate from the chapel and separate from the sermon actually does help, you know, people find what they're looking for. Okay. Bye, Nope Queen. Have a good day. Good night. Have a good day's night. Da 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 da. Okay, are we within range? Yeah, there we are. Herman Melville Cub fan reference? Question mark? Good question, Alpacatastic. Yeah, I wonder if that's why a Cub fan chose 135 for his name. Maybe he was Whale fan 135. Do whales have cubs? I feel like since they're mammals, maybe. Calves. Yeah, Cav fan 135 does not have the same ring to it, I'll admit. If only we were reading a book about whales so I could learn more. Okay. Adrian Sacker says, I'm very new here. What is the project and goal you're working on? We are doing a lot of terraforming in order to build the Bell Laboratories research campus from Holmdel in Monmouth County, New Jersey. And it's going to take several weeks of terraforming. So every Saturday night, we do the terraforming while we read Moby Dick out loud. Last year we did Dracula, which was a big hit. And I thought, why don't we pick the next most popular novel? Moby Dick is not the next most popular after Dracula. But it is fun to read because it's absolutely bonkers. It hasn't even begun to go off the rails yet. We're at the beginning of the story where Herman Melville is still kind of warming up the reader. Adrian says, that's insane. Thank you. Clears up a lot of questions for me. I do what I can, Adrian. Yeah, a few weeks of terraforming, Pickled Monkey. If I'm not like working straight for those weeks. Those weeks are spread out over many months. I think that this project I will probably have spent a few weeks of work hours on by the end of it over the course of several months. Because I'm also coming over here and like when we have our 2 to 4 hour Hermitcraft meetings, when we have our long calls and stuff, I'm also coming over here and working on this then. Teacher Incognito says, what drew you to this particular build? It was the only thing I've ever seen that had interesting parking lots. And I was like, that's interesting. Dang it. You don't see a lot of buildings with interesting parking lots. So I'm building a community area for the mid to late game in Hermitcraft. And the, if I pull up... Do I have the... I don't have it open. Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. If I pull up OBS, I can actually show y'all with the Affinity Designer here. So I can make this wider and then zoom it out. Does that work? Yeah. So basically, each of these ovals around the belt road is going to become a sculpture island that a different hermit can claim. The 3 parking lots on either side of the buildings are going to become labyrinths. And the building itself is going to become a museum of like electrical components and things like that. Because that was something I'd wanted to build last season but didn't have time for. So right now, we are currently like in this corner of the lagoon, basically. Actually, we're probably about where that X is in the lagoon there. Didn't miss anything, Raccoon. We are just about to start Chapter 9. Taking a quick break to give Tips a chance to roll in. Which, if you're enjoying the stream, this is a viewer-supported stream, not an advertiser-supported stream. So I should remind y'all that tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills. And YouTube Super Chat. I keep wanting to push the foot pedal to mute so I can cough. I gotta get that fixed. It's just... I'm trying to get episodes out the door, too. I've accidentally recorded way too much footage while my back... So here's the thing. So some of y'all know I hurt my back recently. But you might not realize is part of my editing process is I usually edit somewhere else because it's my only real chance to get out of my apartment. So I usually like go to a library or a coffee shop or something like that nearby. But because my back is injured, I can't carry a backpack easily or walk around very far. And so I've tried editing at home, but there's too many distractions, and I usually end up just getting on the server to hang out with the other hermits and record more. So I've accidentally got a huge backlog of footage that I've got to break up into several episodes. I got started on making progress on that today. One of those episodes is going to go out tomorrow, and that'll get us caught up to, like, March 18th, which is 10 days previously at this point, which is like, oh boy. I say that. It might actually only get us caught up to March 17th. The episode after that might start March 18th. Yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff I got to make into episodes. But with the new medication that the doctor has me on, I've been going on some walks and stuff, and I'm not yet at the point where I feel super comfortable carrying a computer around. Plus, all the libraries and bookstores are closed tomorrow for Easter. But I'm hoping next week to start catching up on all that more. So I know some of y'all might have noticed, oh, hey, there hasn't been an episode for 8 days, Joe. What's going on? That's what's going on. It's just my back is being painful. But yeah, I made a lot of good progress today toward, even though I had to do it here at home. It's like I've burned through a lot of the things that were distracting me at home that I was backlogged on. So, okay. What? Look, what is that guy doing? He's got a crossbow. Hey, I got a crossbow. You want to see my crossbow? Really? That's your strategy. Ta-da! Look at me, I'm good at stuff. Okay. Like that. Okay. Have I thought about doing hour-long Doc M style videos? I have too much footage to do those. I am way too backlogged. No, these I need to break this into like 20 to 40 minute chunks that make sense. The problem is if I don't put the breaks at logical points, if I was just like I'm just going to do an hour and then stop, then it doesn't, the narrative doesn't structure right. So I need to find the natural breaks in the footage, which is part of what I was doing today, is I was reviewing a lot of the footage, not just for the episode going out tomorrow, but for the episodes going out in the future. Like, the thing is, if you're doing a lot of different stuff all over the server, you need kind of a through line narratively for the episode for it to make sense. So Doc has a narrative through line to each of his hour-long episodes because he designs his recording week that way. This was just a bunch of stuff I did while my back hurt, and there was no intentional narrative through line while I was recording it. So I just kind of have to find the natural through lines and then put the breaks in where they go. Does that make sense? Frosty says, what made you decide to dig out an entire mountain range rather than finding a decently flat landscape? Location. This was the closest place I could get near world spawn. This is actually, by the end of the season, going to be basically in the middle of everything. So this is actually a really good location. It might not seem like it now, but by the end of the season, this is going to, people are going to be like, wow, Joe, how'd you get such a huge space so close to spawn? It's like, well, I got there early. That's the trick there. Okay, full inventories. Not ideal. Yeah, Doc paces his entire recording process around the 1 hour videos. It takes a lot of care to do those right. And I, with my back injured, have not been taking a lot of care. I've just been doing whatever I can at the time, which is mixed results. Okay, so I should go ahead and have a sip of my drink here. What's the coal for? The experience fixes my gear because it's mending gear. So we switch to the fortune pick when we go break the coal, so we can get save ourselves a trip to the nether as quick, or the end, or whatever. Yeah, the trick to asking for this land was to write a big presentation and then not get called on until 3 hours into the Hermitcraft meeting. So I open my presentation by saying, if everybody is happy to give me a huge plot of land near world spawn, I don't need to explain this. And everybody's like, yes, move on, fine. And Tango's like, wait. What is this for? I'm like, it's for a community project. I've got a PDF of my slides if anybody wants to look at it. And Tango's like, okay, I'll look at it. Yeah, this looks fine. Okay, no objection. And everybody's like, thank God, let's go. We've been in this meeting forever. But you get 24 people who are professional monologuers in one call, and you're going to have a thing. Yeah, Tango does care. Okay, we don't want to take care of all of this because we need this in place to get that, yeah. Frosty says, have you considered getting help from the other hermits? Like hermits helping hermits, or was there a conscious decision to dig solo? Well, the thing is, I knew if I wanted to read another book this year, I needed to have stuff to do during it. One problem I ran into with Dracula was I kind of ran out of grindy tasks partway through Dracula. And so I'm kind of trying to pace this build around the plan to read a book. It's kind of a... also, in terms of hermits helping hermits, like, if I get behind on the dig, if I'm like, oh boy, I want this to open in a week, and I'm still not done with my digging, right? Or not a week, a month. Like, this, I'm expecting this whole thing to be ready to open 6 to 9 months after the launch of the world, right? So if we start getting to the 7-month, 8-month mark, and I'm still behind on stuff, I can show people what I've already done and be like, okay, we need to do more like this, right? But until then, I'm kind of just doing it solo so I can read. Okay. Also, it means I can take all these resources and trade them for gold or other diamonds, things like that. But yeah, I originally was hoping that False would come help me clear the gravel, because False needs gravel for the concrete thing. But unfortunately, False did not need as much gravel as I hoped or had. So I was telling hermits that they could come over here and grab stuff like pockets of gravel and whatnot. But yeah, they just weren't interested. They didn't need as much as I had. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, it doesn't look like any more tips are rolling in, so I think it's a good time to move forward with Chapter 9 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Let's go ahead and take that down, now that people have seen what we're working on. Chapter 9, The Sermon. Father Mapple rose, and, in a mild voice of unassuming authority, ordered the scattered people to condense. Starboard gangway there. Side away to larboard. Larboard gangway to starboard. Midships, midships. There was a low rumbling of heavy sea boots among the benches, and a still slighter shuffling. Sorry, there's a bug on the miter. And a still slighter shuffling of women's shoes, and all was quiet again, and every eye on the preacher. He paused a little, and then, kneeling in the pulpit's bows, folded his large brown hands across his chest, uplifted his closed eyes, and offered a prayer so deeply devout that he seemed kneeling and praying at the bottom of the sea. This ended in prolonged, solemn tones, like the continual tolling of a bell in a ship that is foundering at sea in a fog. In such tones he commenced reading the following hymn, but changing his manner toward the concluding stanzas, burst forth with appealing exultation and joy. The ribs and terrors in the whale arched over me in a dismal gloom, while all God's sunlit waves rolled by, and lift me deepening down to doom. I saw the opening maw of hell, with endless pains and sorrows there, which none but they that feel can tell. Oh, I was plunging to despair. In black distress I called my God, when I could scarce believe his name. He bowed his ear to my complaints. No more wail did he me confine. With speed he flew to my relief, as on a radiant dolphin borne, awful yet bright. His lightning shone the face of my deliverer God. My song ever shall record that terrible, that joyful hour. I give thee glory to my God. His all the mercy and the power. Nearly all joined in singing this hymn, which swelled high above the howling of the storm. A brief pause ensued. The preacher slowly turned over the leaves of the Bible, and at last, folding his hand down upon the proper page, said, Beloved shipmates, clinch the last verse of the first chapter of Jonah, And God had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. Shipmates, this book, containing only 4 chapters, 4 yarns, is one of the smallest strands in the mighty cable of the scriptures. Yet, what depths of the soul does Jonah's deep sea line sound? What a pregnant lesson to us is this prophet. What a noble thing is that canticle in the fish's belly. How billow-like and boisterously grand. We feel the floods surging over us. We sound with him to the kelpy bottom of the waters. Seaweed and all slime of the sea is about us. But what is this lesson that the book of Jonah teaches? Shipmates, it is a 2-stranded lesson. A lesson to us all as sinful men, and a lesson to me as a pilot of the living God. As sinful men, it is a lesson to us all, because it is a story of the sin, hard-heartedness, as suddenly awakened fears, the swift punishment, repentance, prayers, and finally the deliverance and joy of Jonah. As with all sinners among men, the sin of this son of Amittai was in his willful disobedience of the command of God. Never mind now what that command was, or how conveyed, which he found a hard command. But all the things that God would have us do are hard for us to do. Remember that, and hence he oftener commands us than endeavors to persuade. And if we obey God, we must disobey ourselves, for it is in this disobeying ourselves wherein the hardness of obeying God consists. With this sin of disobedience in him, Jonah still further flouts at God by seeking to flee from him. He thinks that a ship made by men will carry him into countries where God does not reign, but only the captains of this earth. He skulks about the wharves of Joppa and seeks a ship that's bound for Tarshish. There lurks perhaps a hitherto unheeded meaning there. By all accounts, Tarshish could have been no other than the modern city Cadiz. That's the opinion of learned men. And where is Cadiz, shipmates? Cadiz is in Spain, as far by water from Joppa as Jonah could possibly have sailed in those ancient days, when the Atlantic was an almost unknown sea, because Joppa, the modern Jaffa, shipmates, is on the most easterly coast of the Mediterranean, the Syrian, and Tarshish or Cadiz more than 2,000 miles to the westward from that, just outside the Straits of Gibraltar. See ye not then, shipmates, that Jonah sought to flee worldwide from God? Miserable man! Oh, most contemptible and worthy of all scorn! With slouched hat and guilty eye, skulking from his God, prowling among the shipping like a vile burglar, hastening to cross the seas. So disordered, self-condemning is his look, that had there been policemen in those days, Jonah, on mere suspicion of something wrong, had been arrested ere he touched a deck. How plainly he's a fugitive! No baggage! Not a hat box, valise, or carpet bag. No friends to accompany him to the wharf with their adieu. At last, after much dodging search, he finds the Tarshish ship receiving the last items of her cargo. And as he steps on board to see its captain in the cabin, all the sailors for the moment desist from hoisting the goods to mark Dang it, I lost my spot. Hey, I was going to say thank you to Jevin for the raid. Since I lost my spot anyway, I'll have to re-find it. We are currently reading Moby Dick, Chapter 9. I'll post a link to that. I've got it pinned at the top, but for those of y'all who are coming in, we are currently reading Chapter 9 of Moby Dick. Ishmael and Queequeg have met in the earlier chapters and are planning on heading out to sea on a whaling vessel. This is the last Sunday before they set sail, and they are listening to a sermon about Jonah. I have not read all of Moby Dick. Or, no, I mean, I have read it. I have not memorized all of Moby Dick. Somebody says, Joe, did you memorize this book? No. No, I've got it with me. I'm doing dead simple tasks in Minecraft. I can switch tools and break rocks while I read, but I can't do much more than that. I hope Jevin put on a great show for you tonight. Just kidding. I don't have to hope that. I know it. I'm so glad that y'all have been fortunate to be entertained by such a talented professional, and I appreciate him sending y'all over here afterwards. This is going to be a little bit different type of show. Every Saturday night, I read from a public domain book while I do, like, terraforming, grinding, that sort of thing. Last season, Season 9 of Hermitcraft, I read all of Dracula 1 week at a time. Every Saturday night is my reading and terraforming night. So if you've never seen a Joe Hill stream before, this is a particularly weird one. But it's not so particularly weird you'll never see it again. They happen almost every Saturday. Not this upcoming Saturday, as some of you may know. I'm sure Jevin mentioned there's a Hermitcraft charity stream weekend coming up. So I am going to be participating in that and not being self-indulgent by reading Moby Dick that evening. Because the Moby Dick, not Moby Dick stream weekend, the Hermitcraft charity stream weekend benefiting Gamers Outreach has 2 days worth of streams. I won't be live for every segment throughout that, but I'll be live for enough of it that I need to save my energy to make sure that I put on a show that befits the good work that Gamers Outreach does and respects the contributions that y'all make. Y'all did an amazing job of helping us support Gamers Outreach last year, and I cannot say enough about... Was it last year or the year? I guess it was about a year and a half ago. But, yeah, I cannot say enough about the good work that I got to witness them doing in Vanderbilt Hospital when I visited. Do I have that link? No, I've got the... Yep, I didn't save the link to me talking about meeting up with Scar, or not. So there, I met up with Scar in game, and we both talked about our hospital visits for Gamers Outreach. Let me pull up that episode. Joe Hill's Gamers Outreach. So, if Moby Dick isn't your speed, that's okay. Joe and Scar talk Gamers Outreach hospital visits. I'm gonna post a link to this in both chats. Colin, that's the second time you've yelled in all caps in YouTube, so I'm going to time you out so you have a chance to read the rules. Okay. So, yeah, so this is a sermon about Jonah and the whale. So what we're reading Moby Dick, chapter 9, and the minister in the story is talking to the sailors about the story of Jonah and the whale. And, hey, we got a tip rolling in from Julia for 10. Let's go ahead and say thank you to Julia for that. And that's going to put us now $7 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone. If you've never seen a Joe Hill stream before, you might not know that I use an abacus to keep track of tips. Every $20 milestone we hit, the camera gets larger. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Also, so one of the auction items is going to be my original abacus that I used for many years. This is actually Abacus 2.0. You can see at the top of it, I gotta not lose the beads. I've written at Joe Hill's 29 March 2024. We just unboxed this abacus yesterday. And I'm hoping that the first abacus, which I've already shipped to the Gamers Outreach team, the first abacus was shipped to the Gamers Outreach team, and I ordered a new one. I'm hoping that if I write the dates on it each time, people will want to bid on them each time. Honestly, I have no idea what it'll go for in the auction. Hopefully it goes for more than I spent on the new one. Yep, so this is Abacus 2. Abacus 1 is on its way to Gamers Outreach headquarters now. Hermits are all sending in stuff for the auction that's going to be held on Sunday, April 7th, benefiting Gamers Outreach. We are so excited to be streaming for them, or with them, kind of. Like, we're going to be... I think Scar is going to be calling in to talk to the people in charge of Gamers Outreach and do some interviews. Some of the other Hermits might do something similar. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. How are the auctions done? Auction details will go up at the end of this week or next. I guess the end of... Yeah, because the week technically starts in like 3 hours, 2 hours. Basically, we should have the details on the auction by Friday. Thank you for your patience. We're not good at getting organized. We're hermits. We do a lot of fun things, but we are not the best at organizing them, which is one of the reasons we're having Gamers Outreach handle the auction and the shipping and all that. But that also means that I can't answer your questions directly because I'm not... So, yeah, they're going to be doing all the fulfillment for the auction. We're sending the stuff to them, is the plan. Okay. So, let me go ahead then. What else? So, let's see. Yeah, so we are reading Moby Dick. We are on Chapter 9. And we are in part of the sermon here. So I'm going to switch back to my New England preacher voice. And I'm going to resume. Where was I? Oh, yeah, I lost where I was in the paragraph and then didn't find it again before committing to resuming. Let me figure out where I was. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we just talked about how Jonah didn't have any luggage, didn't have any friends. He must have looked super suspicious. These days, the cops would have stopped him from getting on a boat. And these days are like the 1850s. Ezra says, the acted scene between you and Skiz was so funny. I laughed so hard. Oh, was that in Doc's latest video or Skiz's? Yeah, that's not going to go out on my channel for a while because I'm way backlogged on footage. But yeah, oh, where like him pretending to be Cub? Whose channel did that go out on, Ezra? Yeah, because I hope you all enjoy that too. Doc's video? Awesome. Could the Hermit's roleplay being better organized? Well, if we tried that, all the time zones would be wrong. We would just make them up as we went. That was a good impression of Cub fan. Yeah, Skiz is super talented. I'm so glad he can join us this season on the server. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's get going. Okay, so do I know where we are? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Jonah, super sus looking, finally gets on a ship. At last, after much dodging search, he finds the Tarshish ship receiving the last items of her cargo, and as he steps on board to see its captain in the cabin, all the sailors for the moment desist from hoisting in the goods to mock the stranger's evil eye. Jonah sees this, but in vain he tries to look all ease and confidence. In vain essays his wretched smile. Strong intuitions of the man assure the mariners that he can be no innocent. In their gamesome but still serious way, one whispers to the other,
Jack, he robbed a widow.
Or, Joe, do you mock him? He's a bigamist. Or, Harry, lad, I guess he's the adulterer that broke jail in old Gomorrah, or belike, one of the missing murderers from Sodom. Another runs to read the bill that's stuck against the spike upon the wharf to which the ship is moored, offering 500 gold coins for the apprehension of a parricide, and containing a description of his person. He reads and looks from Jonah to the bill, while all his sympathetic shipmates now crowd round Jonah, prepared to lay their hands upon him. Frighted Jonah trembles, and, summoning all the boldness of his face, only looks so much the more a coward. He will not confess himself suspected, but that itself is strong suspicion. So he makes the best of it, and when the sailors find him not to be the man that is advertised, they let him pass, and he descends into the cabin.
Who's there?
Cries the captain at his busy desk, hurriedly making out his papers for the customs.
Who's there?
Oh, how that harmless question mangles Jonah. For the instant he almost turns to flee again, but he rallies.
I seek a ship to Tarshish. How soon sail ye, sir?
Thus far the busy captain had not looked up to Jonah, though the man now stands before him. But no sooner does he hear that hollow voice than he darts a scrutinizing glance.
We sail with the next coming tide.
He at last slowly answered, still intently eyeing him.
No sooner, sir.
Oh, sorry. That should be more like,
No sooner, sir? Soon enough for any honest man that goes a passenger.
huh, Jonah, that's another stab. But he swiftly calls away the captain from the scent.
I will sail with ye. The passage money. How much is that? I'll pay now.
For it is particularly written, shipmates, as if it were a thing not to be overlooked in this history, that he paid the fare thereof ere the craft did sail. And, taken with the context, this is full of meaning. Now, Jonah's captain, shipmates, was one whose discernment detects crimes in any, but whose cupidity exposes it only in the penniless. In this world, shipmates, sin that pays its way can travel freely and without a passport, whereas virtue, if a pauper, is stopped at all frontiers. So, Jonah's captain prepares to test the length of Jonah's purse, ere he judge him openly. He charges him thrice the usual sum, and it's assented to. Then the captain knows that Jonah is a fugitive, but at the same time resolves to help a flight that paves its rear with gold. Yet, when Jonah fairly takes out his purse, prudent suspicions still molest the captain. He rings every coin to find a counterfeit. Not a forger, anyway, he mutters, and Jonah is put down for his passage.
Point out my stateroom, sir.
Says Jonah now.
I am travel weary and need sleep. Thou lookest like it,
Says the captain.
There's thy room.
Jonah enters and would lock the door, but the lock contains no key. Hearing him foolishly fumbling there, the captain laughs lowly to himself and mutters about the doors of convicts' cells never being allowed to be locked within. All dressed and dusty as he is, Jonah throws himself into his berth and finds the little stateroom ceiling almost resting on his forehead. The air is close, and Jonah gasps. Then, in that contracted hole, sunk to beneath the ship's waterline, Jonah feels the heralding presentiment of that stifling hour when the whale shall hold him in the smallest of his bowels wards. Screwed at its axis against the side, a swinging lamp slightly oscillates in Jonah's room, and the ship, heaving over the wharf with the weight of the last bales received. The lamp, flame and all, though in slight motion, still maintains a permanent obliquity with reference to the room, though in truth it infallibly rights itself. But it made but obvious the false, laying levels among which it hung. The lamp alarms and frightens Jonah, as lying in his berth, his tormented eyes roll round the place, and this thus far successful fugitive finds no refuge for his restless glance. But that contradiction in the lamp more and more appalls him. The floor, the ceiling, and the side are all awry.
Oh, so my conscience hangs in me,
He groans.
straight upwards. So it burns, but the chambers of my soul are all in crookedness.
Like one who, after a night of drunken revelry, hies to his bed still reeling, but with conscience yet prickling him, as the plungings of the Roman racehorse, but so much the more strike his steel tags into him, as one who in that miserable plight still turns and turns in giddy anguish, praying God for annihilation until the fit be past, and at last, amid the whirl of woe, he feels a deep stupor steals over him, as over the man who bleeds to death. For conscience is the wound, and there's naught to staunch it. So, after sore wrestlings in his berth, Jonah's prodigy of misery drags him drowning down to sleep. And now the time of tide has come. The ship casts off her cables, and from the deserted wharf, the uncheered ship for Tarshish, all careening, glides to sea. That ship, my friends, was the first of recorded smugglers. The contraband was Jonah. But the sea rebels. He will not bear the wicked burden. A dreadful storm comes on. The ship is like to break. But now, when the boatswain calls all hands to lighten her, when boxes, bales, and jars are clattering overboard, when the wind is shrieking and the men are yelling and every plank thunders with trampling feet over Jonah's head, in all this raging tumult, Jonah sleeps his hideous sleep. He sees no black sky and raging sea, feels not the reeling timbers, and little hears he or heeds he the far rush of the mighty whale, which even now with open mouth is cleaving the seas after him. Aye, shipmates, Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, a berth in a cabin as I have taken it, and was fast asleep. But the frightened master comes to him, and shrieks in his dead ear,
What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise!
Startled from his lethargy by that direful cry, Jonah staggers to his feet, and stumbling to the deck, grasps a shroud to look out upon the sea. But at that moment he is sprung upon by a panther billow leaping over the bulwarks. Wave after wave thus leaps into the ship, and finding no speedy vent runs, roaring fore and aft, till the mariners come nigh to drowning, while yet afloat. And ever, as the white moon shows her affrighted face from the steep gullies in the blackness overhead, aghast, Jonah sees the rearing bowsprit pointing high upward, but soon beat downward again toward the tormented deep. Terrors upon terrors shouting through his soul, in all his cringing attitudes, the god fugitive is now too plainly known. The sailors mock him, more and more certain grow their suspicions of him, and at last fully to test the truth by referring the whole matter to high heaven, they fall to casting lots to see for whose cause this great tempest is upon them. The lot is Jonah's. That is discovered. Then how furiously they mob him with their questions.
What is thine occupation?
Whence comest thou? Thy country? What people? But mark now, my shipmates, the behavior of poor Jonah. The eager mariners but ask him who he is and where from, whereas they not only receive answers to those questions, but likewise another answer to a question not put by them. But the unsolicited answer is forced from Jonah by the hard hand of God that is upon him.
I am a Hebrew. I fear the Lord, the God of heaven, who hath made the sea and the dry land.
Fear him, O Jonah? Aye, well mightest thou fear the Lord God then. Straightway he goes on to make a full confession, whereupon the mariners become more and more appalled, but still are pitiful. For when Jonah, not yet supplicating God for mercy, since he knew but too well the darkness of his deserts, when wretched Jonah cries out to them to take him and cast him forth into the sea, for he knew that for his sake the great tempest was upon them, they mercifully turn from him and seek by other means to save the ship, but all in vain. The indignant gale howls louder. Then, with one hand raised invokingly to God, with the other they not unreluctantly lay hold of Jonah. And now, behold, Jonah taken up as an anchor and dropped into the sea, when instantly an oily calmness floats out from the east, and the sea is still. As Jonah carries down the gale with him, leaving smooth waters behind, he goes down in the whirling heart of such a masterless commotion that he scarcely heeds the moment when he drops seething into the yawning jaws awaiting him, and the whale shoots to all his ivory teeth like so many white bolts upon his prison. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord out of a fish's belly. But observe his prayer, and learn a weighty lesson. For, sinful as he is, Jonah does not weep and wail for direct deliverance. He feels that his dreadful punishment is just. He leaves all his deliverance to God, contenting himself with this, that spite of all his pains and pangs, he will still look toward his holy temple. And here, shipmates, is true repentance. Not clamorous for pardon, but grateful for punishment. And how pleasing to God was this conduct in Jonah is shown in the eventual deliverance of him from the sea and the whale. Shipmates, I do not place Jonah before you to be copied for his sin, but I do place him before you as a model for repentance. Sin not, but if you do, take heed to repent of it, like Jonah. While he was speaking these words, the howling of the shrieking, slanting storm without seemed to add new power to the preacher, who, when describing Jonah's sea storm, seemed tossed by a storm himself. His deep chest heaved as with a groundswell, his tossed arms seemed the warring elements at work, and the thunders that rolled away from off his swarthy brow and the light leaping from his eye made all his simple hearers look on him with a quick fear that was strange to them. There now came a lull in his look, as he silently turned over the leaves of the book once more, and, at last, standing motionless, with closed eyes, for the moment, seemed communing with God and himself. But again he leaned over toward his people, and bowing his head lowly, and with an aspect of the deepest yet meanest humility, he spake these words. Shipmates, God has laid out but one hand upon you. Both his hands press upon me. I have read by what murky light may be mine, the lesson that Jonah teaches to all sinners, and therefore to ye, and still more to me, as I am a greater sinner than ye. And now how gladly would I come down from this masthead and sit on the hatches where you sit, and listen as you listen, while some one of you reads me that other and more awful lesson which Jonah teaches to me, as a pilot of the living God. How being an anointed pilot prophet, or speaker of true things, and bidden by the Lord to sound those unwelcome truths in the ears of a wicked Nineveh, Jonah, appalled at the hostility he should raise, fled from his mission, and sought to escape his duty and his God by taking ship at Joppa. But God is everywhere. Tarshish he never reached. As we have seen, God came upon him in the whale, and swallowed him down to the living gulfs of doom, and with swift slantings tore him into the midst of the seas, where the eddying depths sucked him 10,000 fathoms down, and the weeds wrapped about his head, and all the watery world of woe bowled over him. Yet even then, beyond the reach of any plummet, out of the belly of hell, when the whale grounded upon the ocean's utmost bones, even then God heard the engulfed repenting prophet when he cried. Then God spake unto the fish, and from the shuddering cold and blackness of the sea, the whale came breaching up toward the warm and pleasant sun, and all the delights of air and earth, and vomited Jonah out upon the dry land. When the word of the Lord came a second time, and Jonah, bruised and beaten, his ears like two seashells, still multitudinously murmuring of the ocean, Jonah did the Almighty's bidding. And what was that, shipmates? To preach the truth to the face of falsehood. That was it. This, shipmates, is the other lesson. And woe to that pilot of the living God who slights it. Woe to him whom this world charms from gospel duty. Woe to him who seeks to pour oil upon the waters when God has brewed them into a gale. Woe to him who seeks to please rather than appall. Woe to him whose good name is more to him than goodness. Woe to him who, in this world, courts not dishonor. Woe to him who would not be true, even though to be false were salvation. Yea, woe to him who, as the great pilot Paul has it, while preaching to others is himself a castaway. He dropped and fell away from himself for a moment, and then, lifting his face to them again, showed a deep joy in his eyes, and cried out with a heavenly enthusiasm, But, oh, shipmates, on the starboard hand of every woe there is a sure delight, and higher the top of that delight than the bottom of the woe is deep. Is not the main truck higher than the kelson is low? Delight is to him a far upward and inward delight, who against the proud gods and commodores of this earth ever stands forth his own inexorable self. Delight is to him whose strong arms yet support him when the ship of this base treacherous world has gone down beneath him. Delight is to him who gives no quarter in the truth, and kills, burns, and destroys all sin through the pluck it out. Though he pluck it out from under the robes of senators and judges. Delight, top gallant delight is to him who acknowledges no law or lord but the Lord of his God, and is only a patriot to heaven. Delight is to him whom all the waves of the billows of the sea of the boisterous mob can never shake from this sure keel of the ages. And eternal delight and deliciousness will be his, who, coming to lay him down, can say with their final breath, O Father, chiefly known to me by thy rod, mortal or immortal, here I die. I have striven to be thine, more than to be this world's, or mine own. Yet there is nothing. I leave eternity to thee. For what is man that he should live out the lifetime of his God? He said no more, but, slowly waving a benediction, covered his face with his hands, and so remained kneeling till all the people had departed, and he was left alone in this place. And that concludes Chapter 9 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. Welcome, Silent Whisperer Raiders. Thank you for joining me. We were in the middle of reading Chapter 9, so I didn't have the chance to greet you properly. Yeah, this is major multitasking. I normally read 3 stream chats while I'm doing Minecraft stuff. And I realized that at some point a few years ago, you know what? I can actually read poems and short stories while I play, as long as I'm doing relatively simple stuff. I can't lay out redstone circuits while I read the book. But I've got a huge terraforming project that lets me take some time to read a book now and again. Last season, our big resource gathering grind we did while reading all of Dracula. We read Dracula start to finish basically every Saturday. Saturday was my grind day. So this season, we are reading all of Moby Dick. We have just finished Chapter 9. We're still early in the season. But yeah, welcome, everybody. Stephanie Hall, thank you for the kind words. Pickled Monkey, thank you for the support. Pickled Monkey tips 20. We were 7 away from the next Face Gamer expansion milestone. Now we are 13 past. So, Pickled Monkey says, this is more than just a reading. It was an immersive experience. Well, thank you so much. Here we go. If you've never seen a Joe Hill stream before, direct your attention to the lower left, where the camera gets bigger when we hit certain tipping milestones. Here we go. It's time to expand Joe. Do-do-do-do. And then we also have a tip rolling in. Let's see who that's from over here in PayPal. PayPal. Michael tips 50 and says, can you sing the hymn that Maple sings? I'm assuming that's supposed to be Father Maple. I mean, I didn't really sing it. I kind of more read it because I don't know the tune of it. What would the tune of this be? The ribs and terrors in the whale arced over me a dismal gloom, while all God's sunlit waves rolled by, and lift me deepening down to doom. I saw the opening maw of hell, with endless pains and sorrows there, which none but they that feel can tell. Oh, I was plunging to despair. In black distress I called my God, when I could scarce believe him mine. He bowed his ear to my complaints. No more the whale did me confine. With speed he flew to my relief, as on a radiant dolphin borne. Awful yet bright as lightning shone the face of my deliverer God. My song forever shall record that terrible, that joyful hour. I give the glory to my God, his all the mercy and the power. I think I kind of got to the Tetris theme at the... I don't know how this is supposed to be sung, but you did tip $50, so I gave it a try. The first 7 gets you 1 expansion, 27 gets you a second. Let's see, 37, 47, and then boom, that gets us 50. So you got 3 face camera expansion milestones there, it looks like. Let's go ahead and process those. For this next one, oh, y'all have seen that money go straight to my head with each face camera expansion milestone we hit. But now, like Jacob Marley, these chains I forged in life are about to begin pulling me down to the deep below. Enter the Jost. Bum, 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 bum. We're going to lower the opacity now to 90%. At this point, each additional face camera expansion will be accompanied by a corresponding increase or decrease in opacity. Let's fly over here, and then we'll process the next 2. But, okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, we are also out of food in-game. So let's not take any damage here. So we got 2 more face camera expansion milestones coming in for Michael. So, numero dos, even larger Jost. Da-da-da-da. Lowering the opacity now to 80%. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is skeleton? No. And then numero tres, even larger face. Da-da-da-da. Lowering the opacity now to 70%. And that puts us only 7 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Thank you again to Michael. And then Juliet Graves tips 5. That puts us now... Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah. We were 13 away from the... No, wait, what were we? I can read the abacus. Give me a second. We were 17 away from the next face camera expansion milestone, and then 5 puts us 12 away. Okay. Yep. So we are now... Actually, yeah. So we were 17 away. Now we're 12. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Naj, if you're curious what we're building in the YouTube chat, I can post the what we're building link. We are terraforming this area to match the grounds of the Bell Research Laboratory's Homedale campus from Monmouth County, New Jersey. How's the adjustment been to Abacus 2.0? It's been going okay. What I really need, though, right now is food. I should have set up a proper food farm here, and I haven't, and it's becoming an increasing problem. We might have to go back to spawn, which I don't want to do in the middle of a terraforming stream. I don't think we're going to get a copyright strike for me singing that, because I don't think I was anywhere near any sort of discernible actual music. Okay. Oh, if you also haven't seen a Joe Hill stream before, let me show you how I eat. We got to take this helmet off. So, real quick, this is fun. Nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom. Uh-oh. I dropped my berry. Let's go pick those back up. Nom 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 nom. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go buy some real food too. But yeah, thank you very much also to Silly Goober for tipping 10. Let's go ahead and put that on the abacus. That puts us now $2 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. Thank you, Silly Goober. Okay. Okay. So, do I have an empty box I can put some of this stone in for real quick? Yeah, let's put that back in there. So that's gonna free up some space for a minute. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Rar says, I did not know that Moby Dick was published over 170 years ago, but I also know almost nothing about the book. That's okay. That's part of why we read books like Dracula and Moby Dick, because they they're actually kind of influential on our culture, and it's interesting to learn more about them and our culture by extension. Like, there's all these great little things in Adventure Time that you would think, like, oh, that's a funny joke, but it's actually from the original Dracula. Like, you know how Marceline wears a straw hat when it's really sunny out? Dracula actually does that in the book. There's one point where he has to go out during the day to charter a ship, and he's and the sailors are commenting on how his hat was neither seasonal nor fashionable, and because he was wearing a particularly wide-brimmed straw hat. It's just like, that's just in the book. That's just in Dracula. That's not a funny Adventure Time joke. That's Adventure Time drawing directly from the source material. Okay. Okay, so let's grab some diamonds here so we can go shopping. I think that should be enough. But... Glitchy Moss says Dracula is one of my favorite books. Yeah, it's really great. Okay. How are we for time? 3 diamonds per stack. Yeah, I think we might just buy a stack of those. Axolotl 42 says there's a joke in Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, which I totally thought was added by the modern production, but nope, it was in the original. The classics are classic for a reason. Yeah, I know, right? They're ahead of their time in some ways. But yeah, we are only $2 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. The Tony Stark helmet cam, the most obnoxious face camera option that we have here. So if you want the camera to be as obnoxiously large as possible, we are only $2 away. You too can be part of the problem. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. I really like these fireworks because they're bright and colorful. Okay. Yep, that's the end of the reading for the night. That's we're only reading the 3 chapters today. So anybody who's got to go to bed early or start getting ready for Easter tomorrow, yeah, no problem if you got to get going. Matthias, lay your head down and dream. Okay. So let's go ahead and take care of some of this. Yep, tomorrow is also Cesar Chavez Day and Trans Visibility Day. So happy days to those celebrating those as well. Oops, wrong one. Yeah, the next 3 chapters are all about Ishmael and Queequeg getting to know each other better. So I've decided to package those 3 chapters together, and then the 3 chapters after that are all about like trying to find the right ship, and so that's a good one. Okay. We need to get closer to the... Okay, now we're close enough to these things. I was like, we're too far from the beacons, which is silly. I don't... you know what I should have done while I was at spawn was get more iron for more beacon pedestals. Okay. Oh, I didn't realize that I'm so tired from reading Moby Dick. I didn't know that that person was going to get banned until they said, "Oh, wait, why am I getting banned?" And I was like, "Wait, what did they say?" Oh, let me read. Let me read the last two things they said. Oh, they were repeating the same message, advertising somebody else's channel twice. Yeah, okay, that is a ban. Boy, if that person had not, my brain is pretty melted from all that Moby Dick reading. I totally would not have caught that. Thank you for mentioning that you needed to be banned, person who just got banned. Am I gonna get a mailbox in my area? Yes, but I haven't cleared out the space it's gonna go in yet. So, not yet. Da, 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 da. But yeah, let's so I need to wrap up this stream so I can get ready. There's going to be no stream tomorrow because it's a holiday and I'm going to be spending time with family. And I need to go prepare for that. So we're going to wrap up the stream on the half hour in about 8 minutes. Thank you, Pickled Monkey, for tipping 2. We were 2 away from the next face camera expansion milestone. So here we go. It's time to expand Jost. Do-do-do-do. Welcome to the Tony Stark helmet cam, the most obnoxious face camera expansion milestone. The camera can't get any, well, I mean, it can get bigger. Camera can't cover any more of the screen, but it can get more transparent. So we're going to lower the opacity now to 60%. We are now 20 away from the next face camera expansion milestone, at which point the, what do you call it? The opacity will drop to 50%. So if anybody would like to tip, you're welcome to. Thank you so much. I've got blocks to mine and I don't know. And ethos who needs stone. I know there's picks out there, but where God only knows. Yeah, I really do want to get a mailbox, but I'm not. They said you have to know the exact coordinates you want it at before you request one, because they're not going to move it later. They were dead serious about not moving it. They're like, it's a lot of work to build this. You better be sure. And I'm like, I'm months away from being at a point with my build where I would be sure. And they're like, fine, we'll do you last. Dun 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 dun. Any mailbox appropriate building? I'm working on the mailbox. The mailbox is not ready. I don't know conceptually where I want to put it either. It's a conceptual problem as well as a terraforming problem. There's a lot of buildings that might be appropriate for it, but there's not like a clear winner. I'm gonna have to think on it. But like that's a problem for 2 months, 3 months from now. I'm gonna be the last one with a mailbox probably. Janky Reese says, Joe, did you see the fan art of you depicted as Bunsen and Beaker from the Muppets? That sounds familiar. There's been a lot of fan art of us depicted both as puppets. So I'm not sure if I saw the particular one you're talking about, but maybe. I'm kind of in editing focus right now. Like, when I get too far behind on my footage backlog, I need to kind of just stop looking at other things for a while. Until I'm caught up. Not a blender says Doc has to have the last mailbox. Okay, well, he's going to be waiting on me then. I mean, I think my thing is going to be done before Doc's thing is ready. Because he's laid out his new perimeter area over there. He's going to want his mailbox over there, not like at his swamp. The swamp is just like his starter Shrek base. And we're out of range of the beacon. No one mourns the beacon. No one cries to see it lapse. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's not an acceptable username, so that's a quick ban. We are 4 minutes away from wrapping up the stream. We're just doing some last minute block gathering. I never feel like I terraformed enough on these streams. But I can't really read for 3 hours straight, so that's a problem. I gotta just be content with my progress. But like, we're so close to being ready to put in the lagoon here. Should probably prioritize the lagoon related parts of this, which are like down in here. These slices. Okay. Yeah. Automata says, who is the pinballer that you rated us to last week? Well, and yesterday as well. Who riffs on movies on Saturday? He riffs on movies on Friday night. That is Manu Smith, a.k.a. MPT3K, Mystery Pinball Theater 3000. That is definitely MPT3K. But he's not online right now because he's a Friday night streamer, not a Saturday night streamer. But yeah, because the weeks are weird because of the holidays, I could easily see why you were confused. Also, everybody in England, I hope you're enjoying your British summertime that just started like an hour or two ago. Maybe 3 now. Speaking of confusing time things. Okay. Okay. Dang it. I should be carrying 1 stack of ender pearls on me. That's a mistake that I'm not. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, let's make some chests. Do we have a workbench up here? No. Okay. Okay, so we can start placing some of these around here. Boop. Okay. We're getting stuff done. Getting so much done. Removing all the blocks, quick as you can talk. There goes one. Now, 2, 3. Okay. It looks like we're to the half hour. Busy day tomorrow. My next episode comes out in about 8 hours, so... Or no, wait, that's not right. 9.5 hours. Comes out at 8 a.m. U.S. Central Time tomorrow. It's not Easter themed, just to warn you. It's just the footage that happened to go out on Easter. But hopefully some of y'all will still enjoy it. Okay. So let's see what is going on in the broader world of Twitch. I think I'm the last hermit streaming tonight. So, yep, that seems to be the case. Let's see. Oh! It's Hot Nudge's streamiversary. Hot Nudge is amazing. Let's mute the site real quick. I got to meet the fantastic folks from Hot Nudge at Chicago Pinball Expo. And it's very rare my daughter is impressed that I know people. Like, cause she's used to like to her Grian is a big deal, but like of course I know Grian. Duh, I'm on Hermitcraft. But yeah, she was asking me the other day. She was like, "It was so cool when we went to Chicago and got to meet the ladies from Hot Nudge. How did they know who you are?" But yeah, no, they're fantastic streamers who play pinball and talk strategy. I picked up a lot of the strategies I use in tournaments from watching them. They helped organize the Bells and Chimes in Chicago, which is a big movement to get women involved in pinball, which is traditionally kind of a male-dominated game. And there's no reason that it needs to be. So I love being able to take my daughter to pinball, and she gets to play with my sister and a bunch of other great women, in part because of some of the effort put in by the folks who organize the Bells and Chimes. So when we get over there, our raid message is, howdy y'all, happy affiliate anniversary, since it's their affiliate anniversary. So until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Stop streaming, stopping the stream. Gotta click the raid now button.